I am. Yes, we are. I survived my trip, and all of us are wearing jackets and sweatshirts and stuff today.
This is frigidly cold for Florida, Joe.
I'm telling you.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it is.
Gorgeous.
Well, just keep going south. Havana's nice this time of year.
Yeah,
That's Miami.
Yeah, that's Miami. Little Havana. Yeah, that is Miami. Yeah.
340-1590, 340-1590. Back in 2004, Dan Woron, independent insurance agent, who's sitting right here, and Joe Martek, financial advisor, met through a common buddy. And I said, Dan, I want to start doing radio shows. And Dan says, hey, Joe, sounds like fun. Let's do it, because people ask questions about insurance. People ask questions about investments, and we can help them. And we started, and then we got a hold of our buddy Greg Fasula, attorney, and said, hey, Greg, Dan and I want you to join us and start doing radio shows so we can answer questions for people with different areas of expertise. And Greg says, do we have to?
He's still saying that.
He's still saying that. And he said, how long do you think we'll have to do this? Well, Dan and I thought maybe a month or 2 or 3. We had no clue.
How long's the contract? We'll see.
So, 15 years.
What contract? We don't need no
It's
stinking contract.
That's right.
Yeah, isn't
No
that the
badges.
truth?
We got no stinking badges.
As a matter of fact, I used to sign an annual contract with you. I haven't signed one for 3 or 4 years, I think.
I think it's been about 15, actually.
Right.
It's extended by proxy, Joe.
Extended by proxy, right. I think the last one I signed says, I don't need to ever sign one again. I'm here for the rest of my life.
It's TBD, which in our case is to TB death.
Till death do we part.
Till death do we part. 340-1590. Anybody wants to give us a call today? Joe Martek, financial advisor. Dan Woron, independent insurance agent. And as we were saying, I did go out skiing and got my snow fixed, but it snowed way too much, and that was beautiful, 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 beautiful. But
It's good to get home.
man, I got to tell you something. Old guys are not going to ski in powder, and that's what they call it. That it was sludge, as far as I'm concerned, because a foot of snow, it was just horrific.
So now where were you?
Montana, northern Montana, almost to the Canadian border. But the key thing is I'm west of the Continental Divide, so it doesn't normally get super cold. 20 miles east, it was below zero. Where I was, it was 20 above. I mean, just a monster difference with those mountains. So they just
That's not any monster difference to me.
Well, let me tell you.
If you're outside, it's a monster.
If you're
Well,
outside,
that's true.
if you're skiing down a hill and your whole body is frozen before you get down
Now,
there.
when you talk about powder, because I'm not a skier, I mean,
Right.
I went snow rolling down a hill once.
Okay.
That was all I've ever done. So is powder sort of like a 7-Eleven slushy? I mean, what is powder?
What happens is it's new snow. All it is new snow.
So it's airy and light? Is that what you're saying?
Well, if you're in Colorado, it's somewhat airy and light. They have low moisture content in Colorado.
low humidity.
Low humidity. In Montana, it's heavy moisture content. They have more moisture, just the way it works. But it's like California snow. That's all heavy thing. But if you get to Colorado, it's actually, that powder is light. You can,
Like dust.
like dust.
Well, yeah, like Tahoe snow would be because of the humidity is so
Yeah.
high.
And that's
Exactly.
better to snow in that light powdery stuff?
Well, you can. Let me tell you something. You can go through it, because just picture yourself going through sludge. Remember when well, you don't know.
I don't
You
know.
don't know, but I know. But all it amounts to is snow can get really, really heavy the more damp it gets.
The only time I've gone skiing, Nancy and I went to the Slodge, and these 2 high school girls obviously knew we were idiots. And they decided to...
And neophytes, right?
And they were going to be our helpers, and they were going to help us.
Uh-huh.
So they said, first thing they go is, you don't need those poles, because you develop bad habits, and you might poke yourself when you fall. So they take us up. As we're going up there, I asked the stupid question, so this thing like stops and let me off? They go, no, you got to jump off.
Right.
So I jump off, and back of my head hits the ground. Nancy jumps off, the back of her head hits the ground. Now we go, and they say, you got to snow plow when you want to stop, like put your tips of your skis together.
Oh, boy. You have never done any skiing.
Never done any skiing.
And this is your lesson.
This is my lesson
This is-
at the top of the hill.
Oh, man.
Not like the bunny slope. So Nancy and I decided.
Did somebody have a contract on
Yeah.
you guys, or what?
We decide that snow plowing doesn't work good for us. So we go as fast as we can before we think we're going too fast. And then we just drop over to the side and fall down, and then we get up and do it again. Now, that was good and okay till we were about 2/3 of the way down, and these little children were like zipping by us. And I'm thinking they hope they know I can't move and get out of their way. So when we finally got to the end, that was the end of our ski, and we haven't gone
Your
in
career
40
was over.
years. We haven't gone back.
I
Yeah.
will tell you, I actually love it because my body still lets me do it. But when you get a foot of snow on the ground, even 3-4 inches on top, because the way it works, let's say you got a nice groomed slope underneath that 3 or 4 inches, and then there's spots that are super fast and spots that are slow. Well, that makes it much more exciting, especially on an old body. So all I'm trying to say, I didn't ski much. I did spend a lot of time in the hell roaring saloons.
So you were like the old man at the club, but you were the old man at the lodge. You were just hanging out at the fireplace.
the hell roaring saloon.
It's interesting you were talking about skiing for the first time. The Canadian government had us up to do previews when I was at ESPN on the future Olympics in Calgary. So we, we're wandering around Alberta and then British Columbia, the sites. And so I had to do a stand-up somewhere. So they found this thing, Ski Louise, which is by Lake Louise and the
Sure,
big ski
beautiful,
areas
beautiful,
there.
beautiful,
Oh, it's
beautiful.
mind-boggling up
Yeah.
there. Someday I'm going to take Carol up there.
It is. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, yeah. And so, anyway, they found a 7-year-old to attempt to teach me how to ski. And now this is the bunny slope, the little kids. And there was a little girl and a little boy, and they're going, "Bend your knees, dummy."
Dummy. You knew it was you they were talking to.
Oh, yeah. No, there was no doubt about it.
I-
My cameraman was laughing so hard he could barely get the shot. It was hysterical.
I will tell you, it's one of the mistakes a lot of people make is not getting a lesson. And I said, hey, the first thing you do, let's say you haven't skied for 10 years, 5 years, just
40 years.
Or ever, take a 1-hour private lesson. And if you want, get a group lesson, all the 7-year-old kids and you.
That's right. Don't let somebody pick you up getting your skis on.
And I love when they do the 7-year-old kids and they do a snake down the hill. They got the person in the front, person in the back, and I'm thinking, you ever watch like little kids play baseball and they kind of wander off and they're not figuring out what they're doing. Well, these little kids are skiing and they're supposed to stay like a snake and make these curves. Well, some of them just kind of wander off.
Oh, yeah.
So when you were that age, were you skiing?
No. My brother, my mother, my dad used to take off on weekends to go ski, and I had to stay home and run the milk truck.
Okay.
And now, wait a minute. In Michigan, they called them Mount this and Mount that. It's about 100-foot hill.
I was going to say
You stand at the top, and by the time you're ready to go, you're at the bottom. And you didn't have to learn how to turn or do anything.
You could ride the garbage can lid down.
I'm telling you the truth. Now, the back of the hill, I know you might remember these things. The front of the hill had a nice slope. The back of the hill was a cliff because when they built them, they didn't want to waste, all that
Too much dirt.
we were playing a football game with San Diego State at Bowling Green.
Yeah.
And we were out by the sign that said Bowling Green. And the sports information director of the college said, "Oh, by the way, that's the tallest mountain in northern Ohio."
That's like our garbage dumps are the tallest mountains in South Florida.
Yeah, that's right.
Florida ski resorts, all the dumps.
One day,
right?
one day in the future.
Well, why not? If they could
I have played
manufacture some slickum on there.
on some old fields that were made on dumps.
Yeah.
And then when my kid they were playing soccer, I would walk the fields making sure no glass or anything had come up.
Yeah.
Because some of that stuff can come up.
Yeah.
And you just
You
gotta
bet.
be
Gotta be
cognizant
careful.
of that.
Yeah.
You bet. Oh, yeah.
340-1590, 340-1590. So after Dan and Greg and I started doing the shows, we also added Ms. Vicki Loyd, Remax's Stewart, hardest working realtor, because when 2008 and 9 and 10 hit and all hell cut loose in the real estate business and in the economy, and
But you always need a professional realtor, Joe. It doesn't matter if the housing market is up or down or normal. A professional gets the job done for you.
Well, the key, a lot of people think that they don't need a professional, and you can make some mistakes, and you hear the horrific stories all the time.
Oh, by owner.
Well, you know, it's called life. Who doesn't make mistakes in life? You know, I've never made any mistakes. Only with women.
You want a good realtor. Let me give you a personal example. I'm not going to tell you who the realtor is, but my son has a realtor. This realtor doesn't even call him and tell him that there's an offer made on his house until my son calls him up to say, hey, what's going on? The guy goes, well, the inspection's going to be tomorrow, and then we should be closing. It's like, what?
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. Hey, let me tell you a story. So
oh, my God.
My son and I are in Greenville, South Carolina, and we're looking for a house to buy for him when he's going to college. So they have this sign on this house that says open house. So we decide, hey, let's go look. So we go in, and we're looking around, and this man comes walking down the stairs halfway dressed. He goes, what are you doing in here? I go, well, we're here for the open house. He goes, it's Open House Real Estate Company.
Oh.
Very embarrassing.
Yeah. Well,
we didn't buy that house, by the way.
No. Yeah. Hey, that's not really a bright idea.
I did not think
Realty.
So. Open House Realty Company.
Then we added Mr. Mike Paulus, mortgage broker, at about the same time Victoria came in, because the media said there was no mortgage money available, which was never true. There was always VA mortgages with no money down. There was the USDA mortgage that Dan and I had never heard of, which was no money down. Conventional financing was there. Where the money became very difficult to get was when Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac did not buy them, so over the $600,000 mortgages became more difficult to get the non-conforming.
And with the increasing value of homes,
yeah,
there's a lot of homes over 600.
There's a ton of them, yeah. And especially if you think, not necessarily in Florida, even though there's lots of them here too, but we go up into the Northeast or
you go to
California.
Palm Beach County South, that's all you'll see.
Yeah, just about it.
And
yeah.
you know, my daughter Megan, her brother-in-law bought a house in California, nice little monster 800 square foot house. $600,000.
That's pretty cheap for California.
That's dirt cheap.
Yeah.
800.
I thought you were going to say $1 million something.
Million,
but it's 800 square feet. That's a good bedroom. 800 square feet.
Nancy's closet's that big.
800 square feet.
So the whole concept of the group was to be able to answer questions for people that people had come in. And over the years, we've been very blessed, Dan, as you know. We've had a lot of people we've helped. And probably one of the most rewarding parts of doing these shows has not necessarily been people that we could, let's say, get a commission from. It was when they needed help. We had about 200 years worth of combined experience in our group. And there's a lot of things that we actually can do to help people get through certain situations.
And Joe, the nice thing is this: if collectively we don't know how, there's a good chance that we collectively know someone who does know how to do it.
No doubt about it.
And we can help them find the right people to get that question solved and answered.
You know, I had Greg, I have a client of mine. This is quite a few years ago, that moved down to Coral Springs and bought a house, and then she was going to refinance it. She called me up and she says, Joe, I just closed on a new loan on the house. And I said, really? I said, how'd the deal work out? She goes, well, I don't know. I got this statement here, and it tells me, and I, this is what it is. And I said, well, can you fax it to me? Back before email.
Right.
And she did, and the lender had a 9% origination fee.
That's
9 points.
Unconscionably high.
Wait a minute. Back up.
Yeah, 9 points origination fee. Now,
where'd she get the loan? Joe's Pool Hall?
Yeah.
Do we cheat him and how?
Do we cheat him and how?
Really? No kidding.
So I told her, I says, okay, you closed yesterday. You're going to cancel this today because they cheated you. She goes, well, how do you know? And I says, because they should only charge you 1, maybe 2 to do what they did. No way in the world you get 9. And I said, we're going to get you your money back. You're going to cancel. And she goes, well, okay, Joe. So I actually drove down and then called up the lender, and I said, I need your address. We're going to hand deliver or send you a certified mail return receipt today to cancel that because we have 3 days to do it. And he said, why? And I says, because you people cheated this lady. And he said, why do you think that? And I said, well, because you charged. And he goes, well, we don't want you to cancel it. And I said, well, I understand that, but we're going to anyway. And he said, well, what do I need to do to save the deal? And I said, you need to give her a check for
the difference.
8 points refund. And he said, okay, I'll put it in the mail. And I said, no, you won't. You'll hand deliver a cashier's check with today, because we're not going to mix the opportunity to cancel. And he did.
As he should have.
And he should have.
Really?
Yeah. But it was called, Greg, one of the things, and Dan, we both, all of us know
see it all the
a
time.
number of people, especially some widows that never did anything. The man would say, this is my man stuff, I'll take care of it. Now all of a sudden he's gone, and now this woman has to know what she's talking about.
Joe, I had a nice client. They were from Mexico. They would come here every year to work and go back. And they bought a really nice conversion van, probably paid, $50,000, $60,000 for it back then. Well, in their contract with the bank, they agreed to have full coverage on it all the time. That's the deal.
Yeah.
And if they don't, the bank can add it to the policy.
Of course.
So they went back one year and didn't keep the insurance. They came back, rewrote a new policy. And now they think that their loan's coming to its end, so they want to make sure everything's right. The bank says, oh, no, you owe us all this money for insurance when you didn't have coverage. Now, understand, they never had a wreck, so this is free money to the bank. You can't go back in time and have the wreck. So what I did is I said, well, look, you did say you would always have insurance, and you didn't have it. So let's do this. Let me give you a quote. You take that to the bank. You say, I will pay you 10% more than this. Otherwise, I'm going to file a complaint with the state.
Sure.
They took it.
Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah.
Because it was fair and equitable.
No.
All right. We could prove what insurance should have
It's
cost.
sad you have to go through all that garbage.
Well, the point is, if you're not in the business, if you don't, people would never understand this if you're not. Dan is in the business. I had another one today's a storytelling day. So I go to see this guy. He's an old guy, like me, and he bought some stuff through a broker and lost his shirt. And I looked at it and I said, you weren't qualified to buy this. He said, what do you mean not qualified? And I says, this was called highly speculative, and in order for you to buy it, you had to have at least a net worth of at least $1 million, or you had to make $250,000. You had to be a qualified investor, and you are not. And he says, well, what can I do? And I says, well, we're going to get your money back. He said, how are you going to do that? And I said, I'm going to get on the phone right now and call up the broker dealer and explain the story. And it'll take a while, but they'll settle with you. So I got her on the phone. I got the manager. She said, yeah. He said, yep, that guy's gone. He's no longer in the business that sold him that. And I said, well, this guy didn't qualify for that. She goes, I understand. I pulled the file, and you're right, he doesn't. She said, well, here's what I'll do. We'll give him back half of the money he put in, and he gets to keep the stock. So he settled right then on the phone, and it was over with. Here's a complaint that never made it
any further.
It made it any further.
Wow.
And let me tell you what.
But that's fair and equitable, Joe.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And what happens is, I had another case that's not exactly similar, but there was a young man in Stewart. He was a certified financial planner, had all kinds of credentials and stuff, and he had an old client that gave him $1 million, and he invested it. Well, over a period of time, he started dipping into it. And the old people, they loved him. And literally what happened is finally somebody found out what he did and obviously complained. Well, the kid lost his license and probably went to jail, but the people got all their money back because the broker-dealer is supposed to be supervising this person, so they have liability. It's not, the deep pockets are not the agent. The deep pockets are the broker-dealer, the Merrill Lynches of the life or minus.
So would that be like an insurance policy that they carried?
Well, have you heard of SIPC?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, that is for fraud.
Okay.
So literally, what happens is when these things come up, most broker-dealers want to settle as quick as humanly possible because they're violating the rules. And
it
broker,
makes for bad PR.
It's really bad PR.
Real bad.
Well, you
PR.
remember forever and ever they had these things. They would settle, and there'd be no publicity,
disclosure.
no disclosure. Well, a lot of states now are saying, baloney, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to have disclosure, because just because you settle with somebody doesn't mean you weren't wrong.
You know, the problem
Is
this.
Florida one of the states?
I don't know if I don't think it is yet, but
Every time they tighten up oversight
yeah,
in any industry,
right.
it's an after-the-fact thought.
Of course it is.
Okay, so something's already happened. How can we stop it from happening again? And you know who it really hurts the most when they do that? The honest brokers,
Yeah.
who do everything properly. Now they have to do more and more and more oversight, because you have ingenious crooks and thieves who think of new ways.
Of course, it's
to
always a
manipulate
loophole.
the system.
Always.
And then they got to go back. Oh, we can't allow that to happen again. Let's make all new rules.
Well, you know, Dan, and the way it works, the paper just keeps getting thicker and thicker and thicker, where
know.
people have to sign all these pieces
Why,
of paper.
we have a paperless society.
Well, you know,
You're
and
going to
this,
sign it by DocuSign then.
well,
You'll DocuSign it.
Yeah, you know, I've got one right now. I've
Yeah.
got a DocuSign, and I'm trying to get the stupid thing. But then you have to download the app for DocuSign.
Now let me ask you a very serious question. Suppose I came in and I said, I want to be your client.
Yeah.
How many hours do you think it would take me to really read and understand everything I'm signing?
It's horrific. Almost nobody can. If they tried to, like I did have one guy. I had one guy, very, 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 very astute, not too young man, retired banker from New York, hardcore New Yorker, and he liked me, so he wanted to do business with me. So I said, okay, fine, you got to sign this new client agreement. So he read it and he said, Joe, that is all one-sided. And I said,
Yeah.
And your point is? He says, I can't sign that thing. It just says whatever I do, I'm screwed. And I said, listen, you have one of those you've signed with your existing broker-dealer, because you have to have one of those. And he goes, I do not. And I said, well, then he's violating the rules, because there's got to be one, and the rules are you're supposed to have a new one every 3 years.
So you can't say, well, when I did it, it wasn't required.
No.
It's got to be updated.
It's got to be updated. So these agreements basically set out everything, and I don't care what you get. There's all these disclaimers in there. Now, in truth, attorneys can go around and say, well, nobody can read these
So
things
if I
in a
signed
jury
it-
trial.
If I signed it and put SUD underneath it, signed under duress, is that going to hold up?
No.
No.
The key thing that happens is, no matter what happens, though, when you get into court with a jury, they're going to look at big company and little guy, and, you know,
There's sympathy for the little guy.
sympathy for the little guy.
So if you can settle for a reasonable amount,
Yeah.
you move on.
Settle
They do that in my business.
everything.
You know, they'll do
yeah.
that.
The key thing is, people make mistakes, and it's not just the agent, it's the consumer also. I had a client today call me up and said, Joe, I'm selling my house and I got some money, and I think I want to buy some stock, and I want to speculate. And I said, okay, so what do you want to buy? She goes, well, what do you think of Tesla? And I says, well, it's hotter than a pistol right now. Everybody seems to think that Musk is the genius boy and everything in the world is going to happen. I said, but it's up to you. But I will guarantee you, if we do buy Tesla, I'm going to have her sign a piece of paper that just says, I did not suggest it, and bring it up and let her understood. Because personally, it looks like he's going to be a genius, boy genius. Even President of the United States came up and said that we have to protect our geniuses.
Joe, it's no different than when you and I got together and I said, hey, Trump's going to do all these new bridges and stuff. I got a buddy that's in this company, and I put a bunch of money in that, and it's now worth like 80 cents a share, and I bought it at 30. That was me.
Yeah, I know.
I made that decision.
Of course.
So, you know, I think that what happens sometimes is people get a hunch from a neighbor or a friend or
yeah.
whatever. They decide to buy it, and if it doesn't work out right, now they want to make it your fault.
Exactly.
And it's not your fault.
So the key thing that happens is, if somebody wants to buy penny stocks, now that's even worse.
They have become penny stocks.
Yeah, they have become penny. Well, what happens? You now have to sign a piece of paper that says you're dumb as a stump, and
I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
And they all want to buy the new Apple, the new Amazon.
Whatever it amounts to, and it's called, hey, take a risk, but I have to send it in and get it approved ahead of time.
Oh, really?
You know, because now it's But the key is this: lawsuits. Everybody is looking to sue whoever's got deep pockets, and when you
Yep.
have an attorney, so you've got to protect yourself.
Hey, Victoria's on the line.
Victoria is Ms.
Hello.
Ms. Loyd. You're on the phone.
How are you? Yes, I was heading that way, and then I got sidetracked again, like always.
That's never happened before.
I know. It's just so crazy. So crazy. I have an appointment, so I'm going to head that way. So want to wish everybody a Happy New Year and hope they had a great time. And
All
for
things.
the New Year, did
all
you guys
things.
have a great New Year?
Yeah.
Yes, had
yeah.
a great New Year. How about you?
Oh, we did too. It was fabulous.
Yeah. Well,
But, just looking at what the market's doing, and new construction is really kind of topping everything off right now.
It's everywhere.
Yeah,
What-
and we're up about 16%. And our problem is, we get people that are looking at, resales, and the values are much better than the new construction, but they're looking at the little particulars that they've changed, like hurricane windows. Even though you have hurricane shutters, or they're still looking for these little extra perks and kind of going in that direction.
well, you can't blame people for wanting stuff, but then you got to figure out what's it cost to have that stuff. It's
And people have to think, when you're getting a house that's only, a couple of years old, and maybe they don't have the hurricane windows, but they have the shutters, the accordions,
right.
so they're easy to shut.
right.
Even if you put in a few more thousand, you can get hurricane windows if you
Oh,
want
sure.
to.
Of course.
And don't forget hurricane windows. It doesn't mean that they don't shatter.
No.
It means that they just
That's
absorb it, and now you got to put a whole new one in.
Yeah.
That's exactly right, and that's what people aren't looking at. A lot of the people that are here part-time say, but, I'm just here part-time, and I just feel a little more secure because I have a hurricane window. But, hey, something can just absolutely, like you say, it's not going to break through, but it will shatter.
Yeah.
And then they're
And the
expensive
window
to
itself.
replace. Very expensive
Hey,
to replace.
now you got to replace that whole thing, and it's very expensive.
Yeah,
Whereas
but
the
insurance
shutters,
will pick that up, though, right?
well, yeah,
Maybe under your deductible if it's just that one window. I just about guarantee it.
Oh,
Yeah, listen
man.
at them.
but
Listen at them.
you ever see that wind deductible on most of them?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, let's
It's usually 2% or more.
Yeah, so if you had a $200,000
That's
policy,
$4,000.
$4,000, how many windows do you think you can get for $4,000?
Well,
Two or
the
three.
other thing is, what do we always hear? Well, if it's only one window, and why put in a claim? You're probably better off just paying for it yourself.
Well, you know what Nancy and I have decided this year? We have the accordions, but on like
Yes.
3 or 4 of our windows, they have the shutters, and they are the most inconvenient places to get to, which is probably why they did it the way they did it. So we are going to have those windows replaced with hurricane windows this year and keep the rest of them as accordion and on the other windows. That way I don't have
Right.
to get 2 ladders and her to help me and put it up there because it's an aggravation.
Well, yeah, and you're getting old, too. Falling off
But
a
she's
ladder
a
is
great helper.
embarrassing.
She's great.
Yeah,
she
but
helps
you-
me.
Yeah.
She's not
But
climbing
you're
a ladder, though.
absolutely right
Yes,
with
she
that. I
does.
think
Does she
anything
really?
that is
Yes,
a
she
second
does.
story or you have to get a ladder, it's not even worth it.
No.
Now, my windows, I have the plastic ones that you can see through.
Uh-huh. Those
And
are
I
nice.
love them,
Yeah.
And so when I had them designed and made, they were such a back order. They said, Victoria, you don't want to see a storm coming at you. And I said, yeah, I do. I want to see. I don't want to be in the dark.
And if you're in the dark, it's like being in a cave. It's very depressing in
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
It
yeah.
is. So sometimes when I have them on for a period of time, I don't even know I have them on because I still get the light and I can still see out. So I love them, and they're very, very lightweight.
You should put them
So,
on with the first
those are-
storm
those
and
are
take
nice
them
to
off
put on.
when the season ends.
So bottom line is, Vic, the market is still very, very, very good. Interest rates are still very, very, very low. I mean,
Yes.
they're using it today on CNBC. The words, we're in la la land in effect right now. It's just an absolute best case scenario that's going on in the whole economy in America. Couldn't be much better. And our president wants it to get better every minute. But, how can it get lower than 3.5% unemployment?
What's very interesting is to come up the turnpike as we were doing when we came back from Miami-Dade the other day, and you look on the turnpike at all these...
Going south from north, you're right.
Well,
We're all going back home.
Well, not just that, but look at the developers' signs.
Oh, yeah, one
Everywhere.
after another.
All the way up north saying look at our new Port St. Lucie development,
Yes.
affordable under 200.
Well, we've been told we're getting more new residents in Port St. Lucie from South Florida than from the Northeast, and it used to always come from the Northeast.
Vic, you see that because how many
And,
people
no, that's
moving?
absolutely true. And they're coming here. But I was talking about the traffic because if you're coming north, you'll see that the traffic's all going back south. When they get off work, because a lot of people are still living down there but are making the change to move here.
Well, look
so
at people.
That's the thing that's happening a lot.
But look at the new developments out west.
Oh boy,
the new Del Webb. We're talking about 50,000 people just in Del
Did you
Webb
see
alone?
the new development that just got okayed for 7,700 homes down there by Becker Road?
Off of Becker, yeah.
Yeah. So it's amazing. And by the way, guys, just driving around, and Victoria, you're out there. Do you see a lot of Palm Beach sheriff's cars?
Living up here.
They live up
living
here.
Up here. Hey, they can't afford to live down there.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
And they drive their car.
If they could afford to live down there, why would you want to spend $300,000 for a dump when you get a castle here?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, the key thing is now you got to spend your money on gas, but hey.
But that's
when it's a company car, who cares?
That brought Nancy and I up here, almost 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Because we lived in Palm Beach County, and I said, well, let's go up there and just look. And we could get twice the house for the money.
Yeah.
We moved up here.
Yeah.
We did commute back and forth and eventually found jobs closer to home. And then I started my own business.
Yep.
But, it's the same thing it's always been.
So anyway.
Well, I'm under contract for somebody that lives in Hollywood, Florida. And they just decided that, that their house was a little bit too big for them and they weren't looking for that anymore. They wanted to make some changes and they wanted something a little bit smaller. But they loved our area and our community here, and the value they're selling theirs for and what they're getting the property for here, it's like a steal.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
They're able to pay cash and just not have to worry about all that debt.
Nice. Well, all things.
So it does make a big difference. But I just want buyers to be a little more open-minded to exactly what's out there. Not, these properties that are only 2 and 3 years old, and maybe they don't have a hurricane window, but they have the accordion shutters, and they have all these other features. Like you're saying, don't walk away from them. And they are. They're walking away and spending another $100,000 more for something just because it has, hurricane windows.
Well, on the other hand, you find them a house for $100,000 more if they can qualify for it. So be it, right?
Well, I know, but they don't all look at it that way. That's their problem. They become a little closed-minded to some of the things, and then they don't realize all the other things they're missing out on that the other houses have extras. All those nice fans and blinds and all the upgraded features they put inside the house or outside in landscaping.
Well, all things are good. I think I have not talked to anybody that's complaining about employment. I was talking to a guy yesterday, and he said, I only make $15 an hour. And I says, really, what do you do? He said, I'm a merchant marine seaman. And I said, yeah, but you get paid 24 hours a day, and you don't work all 24.
Yeah.
I
wouldn't want that job, though.
Well, he'd gone 3 months at a time.
No, I can't. I wouldn't.
He can save a lot of money.
So
he can save a lot.
We're very, very fortunate. But I think we're going to have a great New Year show. I wanted just to call in and tell everybody to keep looking. We're out here and we're doing real well.
All right,
Thanks,
girl.
Victoria.
Good talking to you, girl. We'll talk to you again soon.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ms. Victoria Loyd, Remax of Stewart, hardest working realtor, maybe the hardest working person that I've ever known. She's only got 2 speeds.
But if she didn't love what she did, she wouldn't do it, Joe.
No, she does love what she does, and she loves being with people. A lot of times, clients of hers, customers of hers, let's say she sold a house 4 or 5 years ago, they call her up as a friend, and she'll say, oh, come on, drive around with me. I'm going to go do stuff today, and they'll just chit-chat and go, and she'll work and have them drive along with her, and because that's how she is.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many people that we insure who sell their homes, the new buyer of their home, they bring to us,
Yeah.
and we insure their new home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. And just like with her, now I'm insuring children and sometimes grandchildren of clients that I insured 40 years ago.
Well, we got something from a realtor who specializes in St. Lucie West, and I'm saying the value of your home is like $100,000 or 20.
Whatever,
I don't
yeah.
know what it is. More than,
But you paid for it.
what we paid for. So, but the problem is, I mean, we only have about another 3 years left on the loan. It's why would we sell?
Start all over.
But if you did,
Oh, but we don't want to.
you're going to buy a new house and it's worth more. People say I can sell my house for $100,000 more than I paid for, but if you're going to buy another house, it's going to cost you $100,000 more.
Exactly.
Right. But if you move to Okeechobee, you're okay.
Yeah, you know.
Oh, God.
340-1590, 340-1590. Actually, I've got clients in
More
Okeechobee.
Haven, here we come.
Well, I can tell you a lot of.
More Haven's a different ballgame.
Do you remember when the properties went sky high here?
Yeah, boy.
All right. I had a lot of people said, I'd love to sell it, but this is where I like to live. If I sell it, I'm going to just have to give it to somebody else for their house unless I want to move.
Yeah.
So you got to think about all
I did
that.
have some clients that moved to Okeechobee because they sold their house for big and they actually could buy.
I have several.
Very
We went out to Indiantown, Okeechobee, and bought beautiful homes.
There's some gorgeous subdivisions and golf course communities in Okeechobee that are kind of hidden. Yeah.
It all depends on who your husband or wife is, if they want to live in that kind of an area.
Yeah.
I know that my wife would not particularly care to do that, so we don't consider that.
Well, you the good old Southern boy that you are, you kind of identified with that swamp people out there.
Well, I have a lot of friends out there, but, here's the thing. It's like, my wife is my partner, and if that's not what she wants to do, I have no desire to make her unhappy.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Well, it's funny. We ran into a couple, this would have been, 3 or 4 years ago, who they're cabbage farmers.
Okay.
And they have one client, Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Wow.
For the coleslaw.
That's all they need.
It's like they have hundreds of thousands of acres. They're out in Okeechobee. And, you think, oh, my goodness.
That's all it takes.
A lot of coleslaw.
I had a client, all he did was supply toilet paper to Disney World. That's all he did.
Can you imagine how much they would go through?
He would buy it by the railroad carload. I mean,
I would
every
imagine.
day.
Yeah.
So
we have.
All it takes is one. In fact, here's a little story. Years ago, I worked for an air conditioning company, and I walked into this really nice house over in Palm Beach. I was like the helper. I was a young guy. And this is really old man in like a hospital bed, and he has like his own hospital down below. And I'm not doing anything. It's watching the mechanic work. And the guy goes, hey, come over here. So I'm talking to him. And this guy was Mr. Phillips. He had invented the Phillips screwdriver.
Wow.
And he was telling me about the little
smokes.
things that he goes, all you got to do is figure out how to make a widget that everybody in the world wants.
That's it.
And you can be a gazillionaire.
Well,
and
that's
it's
exactly
true.
what does happen.
Oh, yes, sir.
That's
It does happen.
amazing.
Yeah. 340-1590, 340-1590. So what's the news in the insurance industry?
Probably the biggest thing going right now is there was a relatively large auto company called Windhaven that the state basically stepped in right at the end of the year and said, we're taking over. So a lot of these, clients, and there's tens of thousands of these clients throughout the state.
Well, I've never heard of.
Well, it was one of these smaller takeout companies, and we're doing different things.
Whoa, back up. What's a takeout
Well,
company?
they take out policies from Citizens or from the RPCJUA.
Citizens wants companies to take away that business.
But this is primarily an auto carrier.
Yeah,
So
right.
they sort of were like taking clients that didn't have the best records.
Okay, there you go.
So
there you go.
And the state stepped in and said, hey, we're going to seize them and shut them down because they're not actuarially sound enough for us to give them the blessing. So now these people have to find a place to go. And for a long time, a lot of companies would not accept you, or if they did, they would surcharge you from coming from this company because this company didn't do certain things that the industry thought were pertinent. But now to try to help the clients and the public, some of the companies like Progressive and a few other companies have said, we won't continue to hold you at that higher level because of the premium, because you didn't have a good company. We'll take you. So there's opportunities now if you had Windhaven to perhaps shop and maybe get a better price than you had from Windhaven. All right, so it may be a good thing for the client. I think it's going to be short-lived. I don't think the companies are going to always offer that, but for right now, they're trying to help people. It's very similar to when we had a company that specialized in mobile homes, and they went under, And Citizens said, hey, we'll streamline our process, because they knew that Citizens was probably the only place to put a manufactured home. So they were trying to help the public. So while it's a bad thing, it could turn into a good thing for the clients if they actively shop. Other than that, the industry's pretty solvent.
Yeah,
But-
right.
but-
Well,
Is there anything new on the horizon for either one of you guys with those whack jobs up in Tallahassee?
There's so many whack jobs.
yeah,
I
you-
know.
are you
It's
talking
like
about an
taking-
honest politician?
Take a number.
Is there an oxymoron hanging around over
man,
here?
I think they're all morons.
Well,
but
we
that's
say,
a whole different-
how do you take a perfectly honest man and make him a crook? Elect him. I've talking to a retired minister client of mine who literally has been a minister in many different countries. Dan's got to go because he's got to make Mercedes payments for a doctor.
He's got a date.
So he's got a
He's
date,
got
right?
a date. Oh, okay.
But anyway, this he was telling me we're talking about politics and all of the crooks all over the world. And I said, no matter what country you go to, everybody complains about their politicians. And some greed, bribery is just a way of life. It's just considered normal. And it's a sad thing, but that's just the way the system works. What I get a kick out of right now, Greg, last year was a monster year as far as people making money. We had people in a variable annuity making 30% last year. Now, how do you do that? Well, what happens is everybody likes to make money. You know that. I mean, who wants to lose money? Nobody. But you know what happens is very often when you make a lot of money in a year and now you're getting scared you're going to lose it, right? So I've had people that are actually saying, Joe, this is big. Should I take it out? And I said, well, if you take it out, you lower your basis. It doesn't make a big difference whether you do that. But there's ways to protect things. This is an interesting concept. Number one, whenever I talk about a variable annuity, I've got to mention that my compliance people say you have to know the claims paying ability of the insurance company. So now that I mentioned that, my compliance people are happy. But
And I take it you don't work with the F-rated insurance companies.
No. The only ones I deal are A-plus companies. I want to deal with only the top companies because, like Dan was saying about this one in a car insurance company, well, when they're not a highly rated company, they could possibly have a problem. That doesn't mean the consumer is going to lose because the government, the state will come in, et cetera, but there's an aggravation. So who wants aggravation? Nobody. So bottom line is when I talk about the variable annuity, what it does, it puts insurance together with investment. That's all. So the investment's sitting over here. Let's say you started off with $100,000. Now it's worth $130,000. That's a year later because you were invested in some sub-accounts that made well. And people are saying, Joe, man, oh man, what can I do to protect that? Well, inside of most of these contracts, you have ability to get out of the market with a phone call. You can be in bonds that are paying 2 and 3%, or you can be in a fixed account, which is paying 1 or 2, just like the bank. But once you're in these fixed accounts, you're not going to make much, but you're also protecting your money. But the insurance companies very often will have what they call riders on the contract that have a guarantees to protect your family in case you die, called a death benefit. So like my favorite one is the greater of 3, whatever number is the best, you die. Market value, 5% per year, or the highest quarterly anniversary. So you put in 100 and it goes up to 130 on the anniversary, and you die and the market collapsed, went down to 50, your family gets 130 because it's the highest quarterly anniversary. Now, if you take money out and you spend money in taking withdrawals, it comes out of those. Obviously, you can't just spend all the money and still have that. But the bottom line is, your family would like to have you die when the market's up. Because they want Maseratis, these kids do. They don't want to use Pinto.
Naturally. That's right.
So, but I joke about that. But the reality is this: let's take a spouse, a husband and wife. Hey, you die. The husband, very often, her income goes down dramatically. But if you have this guaranteed death benefit in there that protects your spouse, hallelujah. This is a good thing. Then people say, "Well, Joe, what if I don't die?" And I said, "Well, okay, we're all gonna." He said, "But what if I'm stuck living to be 100? What can I do?" I said, "Well, some of these contracts say, here's what we'll do. We'll have a guaranteed income where they're going to guarantee you the company will guarantee you a 5% income on what you put in, and then same thing. They'll step it up every 3 months. If the market goes up, it steps up. Market goes down, you stay at the highest anniversary. So you put in 100, let's say, and now it's worth 200. Now you're going to get 5% on 200. Then the market collapses. We have a major recession or depression. It goes down to 100. You would stay based at 5% on that high watermark, the 200. So you now are going to get $10,000 a year rather than $5,000 for the rest of your life, or until it goes up again. So the whole concept is, if you're not too young, this thing, it becomes very, very, very appealing. If you're young, you got a lot of time. You don't need to put insurance on it because you got to pay the insurance company. Can you imagine an insurance company working for free? No.
I know mine doesn't.
No, none of them do. And none of us like insurance, but we can't afford to take the risk normally on our own car, house, business, life. I mean, all of these things, if you've got millions and millions of dollars, you don't need insurance because you're self-insured. But, boy, the rest of us that are making a living, we've got to protect ourselves so we don't go down the tubes.
Yeah, my quiet company is getting into investments now.
Well, all these companies get into investments, and there's nothing wrong with that. The key thing that I look at is when I look at somebody and I say, what are your options available? See, very often people will talk to me about a 401k or a 403b. They're going to retire, and I'll say, what do you think? I can stay there. I said, well, what are your investment options? What are your options if you stay? If you move, you might pick up 100 more options that you can go into. So you have to get educated, as we say in Fort Pierce, edumacated, but you have to learn enough so that you can make a proper decision. And people say, well, Joe, I don't want to learn. This stuff drives me nuts. I glaze over. And I said, okay, fine. Now you got to find somebody you can trust. I said, well, how do we find that? And I said, well, talk to me. One of the things God's given me is just a wonderful, wonderful career and the ability to do the right thing for people, and I will only sell you straight. And I've had people, I'd looked at what they've got, and I'll say, hey, what you've got is good. Just keep it right there. I had a lady that came to see me some time ago, and she said, Joe, I've got this stuff. And I said, well, you can't get rid of it, because if you got rid of it, you would lose like crazy because it says guarantees in there. So you can't get rid of it. Don't let anybody ever take it away from you. She goes, well, you've explained this thing to me better than the guy that sold it to me. And the guy that sold it to me is not even in the business anymore, and I can't get anybody to talk to. And I said, well, fine. You can switch agents. I can now become your agent for that product that you've got, and now you've got somebody you can talk to about what you've got. Just to sign a piece of paper and you switch agents. It's like keeping your car insurance, let's say with State Farm, and then you go from one agent with State Farm to another one. Well, okay, same concept. So Dan and I do that all the time. We don't necessarily look for that, but if somebody needs to have somebody that they can talk to and trust, hey, that helps. 340-1590, 340-1590. Somebody could call us in and say, hi, Mike, listen, if you're listening, you should call me up and say, hey, Happy New Year, Joe, whatever. But we lost Bulldog, that happens.
Mike's probably watching CNN right now.
When is the opening arguments over with?
Actually, the opening arguments supposedly start at 1 o'clock. Now, I wonder,
yes,
prime time. Are the networks going to scrap prime time? They weren't over till 2 o'clock this morning.
A.M.
Wow. Those clowns were talking all night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, you couldn't get it on the regular networks. You had to pick up like CNN.
Well, cable networks, I'm sure.
Cable networks. Somebody's going to show it because there's so many of them. But our local channels would. Anyway, I'm running down out of time. Dan had to go to the doctor. Victoria called in. Nobody else loves us. And Alan is working down at CNO this morning on something or other. He called me up and said he's not showing up today. So, hey, Greg, it's you and me, babe. This is it. What can I tell you? It's not a pretty picture, but what can we do?
This is JBS, the Jesuit Broadcasting System.
Way to go. 340-1590. 340. How much time we got left?
Oh, we've got about...
You're really good with numbers.
I've never been a math guy. Let me see. About a minute 18.
A minute and change. Very, very good. 340-1590, 340-1590. Now, obviously, if you don't want to talk to us on the radio, you don't have to. Well, guess what? Somebody's calling in at the last minute. Do we have time to put them on the radio? Nancy's on the radio, so Nancy, can we plug her in, Greg, real quick? Yep. Nancy, it's Joe Martek. You're on the radio.
Hi, Joe. Just wanted to tell you how much I love your program, and I miss seeing you once in a while. But I'm so old now I could ski free, so I could go out to Montana and have a ball.
You know, listen, they changed the rules where I went, and now they used to, us old people could ski for free. Now they charge me money anyway. But it was still wonderful. It was still wonderful.
Yep.
Hey, Nancy.
It used to be 70, I know, and I think it went up to 80, and I'm still eligible.
Wow. Well, congrats, girl. Good. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for listening.
Well, it's a great program, and I'm learning something every time. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
All right, very cool.
I've got to
Nancy.
send her a check because for that testimonial, right? Are we gone?
Have a good week, my friend.
Adios.